like a Twizzler, my love. Ooh, I need you. There's nothing realer.
Y'all can do better than that. One more time.
So growing up, my dad had one rule.
If you use my tools, put them back.
Why is he yelling? And I heard him. I just didn't do it.
Ooh.
See, I borrowed a screwdriver to fix something, then forget it on the porch, use a wrench for absolutely no reason, then leave it in the grass like evidence.
You deserve a whooping.
So one day, my dad goes to change a light switch. He reaches for his tool chest like,
Let me grab my pliers real quick.
he opens the drawer and not one plier was in there.
Judgment, where are my tools?
Which ones? That made it worse. Now he's running around the whole house doing a scavenger hunt he didn't sign up for. Found the hammer in my book bag, found the screwdriver in the bathroom, found the tape measure in the fridge.
In the fridge?
Still don't know how that happened. By the time he found the pliers, he forgot what he was fixing. He just looked at me like,
Boy, just stay out of my toolbox.
And I did.
No, you didn't.
Well, for a little while. My 2-year-old daughter, Kaylani, is definitely taking after my love of drums. But the problem is, Kate and Destiny and I can't do anything around the house. Whether we're trying to study, watch TV, or just relax, the drums are so loud, it's impossible to focus. Destiny tells me I need to do something about all the noise. So I decide to bring home these special drum heads that are supposed to be a lot quieter. I reach into my drumstick bag to grab my drum key so I can swap the drum heads, but it's not there. So I start searching the whole house. I check the laundry room, every drawer in the kitchen, even the garage, but still no drum key. Not giving up, I hop in the car and head to the music store. I ask if they have any drum keys in stock, but they're all sold out. So I had no choice but to head back home and grab some pliers to unscrew the bolts. It's slow and frustrating, but I finally get the new drum heads on. Right after Kaylani runs into the room holding something shiny. And wouldn't you know, it's the drum key. She had it the whole time. While I was cleaning the pool, my dog Snoop spotted an iguana.
Hey, what you doing in my pool?
I don't want no problems. I'm just trying to take a bath, man.
I don't want you in here. Get out of here, man. My pool. Yeah, that's my dog. Get out of here.
I ain't going nowhere. This is my house now.
What you say? You gonna pay for that? What's up? Get on. What you do? What you can go cut your tail? Cut your tail. Come here. Get over here. Come on. I'm gonna get you. What now? Come on. Yeah, you ain't got nowhere to go. Wait, there you go. There you go. What's up? Yeah. This ain't over. Hold on. Just give me a second. I gotta catch my breath. Say that to my face. I dare you to say that to my back.
Oh, you
You
look.
done did it now. Wow.
Just let
Here
me
we go,
go.
green. Yeah, get down there. What's up?
What?
Da. I got no head. Yeah, you ain't like that. What's up?
So for as long as I can remember, my grandpa had the nicest lawn in the town. Everyone knew not to step on it, or else. The family knew, the mailman knew, even animals knew to stay off his lawn. One day, I started riding my brand new bike to my grandparents' house because my friends lived near there. I was pedaling really fast, and as I was approaching the house, I realized the brakes were too hard to press and I couldn't stop. My bike rolled right into the middle of my grandpa's lawn, and my heart dropped. The whole neighborhood got silent and was staring at me. No one has ever made it to the middle of the lawn, and they wanted to see what was about to happen. All of a sudden, my feet were in the air. I looked up, my grandpa had both of my hands in one of his hands.
No, Grandpa, no, I'm sorry.
He whooped me so bad in front of everyone, no one has been on his lawn since. So my grandpa was a very serious man who was always protective of his lawn. He had a strict rule that nobody was allowed on it under any circumstances. A dog was chasing me one time and I got caught because I wouldn't step on his grass. Stepping on his grass meant consequences, and no one wanted any trouble with my grandpa. Well, during winter, my grandpa pours hot water over his lawn every hour to keep the grass alive. I asked him if I could do it for some money, and he said, yeah. As he was walking into the house, he added, just one more thing before I go. You better keep your feet off my lawn. I was stunned. How was I going to water his whole lawn without walking on it? By attaching a bucket on the end of a pool pole. But there was one problem. The bucket was too heavy and it fell on his lawn. I had no choice now but to step on his grass to get the bucket. I looked around and made sure my grandpa was out of sight, and I started walking on his grass. I could feel my neighbors staring at me, because at any moment, we all knew my grandpa could... Something hit me and I couldn't see where it came from, but I knew it was my grandpa. He was moving so fast, some people said it looked like a ghost was spanking me. I was really upset because every morning I catch my son playing Fortnite instead of doing his homeschool work. This was my 7th warning, so I had to take action. First, I tried putting a passcode on his TV, but he somehow figured out a way around it. Next, I hit his remote control, but then I remembered he had a second one, so I took that remote too, thinking I finally had him cornered. A few minutes later, I checked on him and saw he was working on his school assignments. But then I noticed he was having way too much fun. He's never enjoyed schoolwork this much. When I got closer, I realized he was playing Fortnite on his laptop. I snatched the laptop and installed a blocker so he couldn't play any games. I told him to get back to work. When I came back to check on him, his head was down like he was sleeping. I walked over to wake him up and found him playing Fortnite on his phone instead. At that point, I'd had enough. I grabbed a hammer and smashed his devices. I told him to get back to work, but then I realized he couldn't because I just smashed his laptop. So I was just munching on my hot Cheetos with mayo snack when I realized it was April Fool's Day. My son Caden has pranked me like a zillion times, so I decided to plan the ultimate revenge while he was at school. First, I taped a bunch of popsicle sticks to the top of the garage door. Next, I taped the container to the door and rigged it so it would spill when the door opened. Lastly, I filled the container with Prime. Suddenly, I heard the garage door rumbling open, so I dove for cover. I was practically vibrating with excitement, picturing Caden getting soaked as soon as he parked his bike. Suddenly, I heard him yell my name and I raced to him. I was totally confused because he was completely dry. I rushed over to the door to see what went wrong with my prank, and suddenly Caden swung the door open wide. I was covered in Prime from head to toe. Turns out the sneaky kid peeked at our security cameras from school and saw me setting everything up, so he used the front door instead. The moral of the story, if you're trying to prank your kid, chances are they're already 10 steps ahead and know exactly what you're planning. So my daughter has a pet rock that she never lets out of her sight, but while we were at the park, I had to change her diaper. So she handed the rock to her brother Caden so he could watch it until we came back. Caden asked me if he really had to watch it since it was just a rock. I told him yes because it was important to her, then I took her to change her diaper. When we came back, Caden was sitting there scrolling on his phone. I asked him where the rock was and he shrugged like it wasn't a big deal and said it didn't go anywhere because it was just a rock, but when I looked around, the rock was gone. I told him to start looking for it. He tried handing his sister another rock, but as soon as she saw it, she knew it wasn't the same. Caden started running around the whole park trying to find her imaginary rock. Just when he was about to give up, he found the rock laying by the pool. Moral of the story, even if it's imaginary, you better take it seriously. So I was just eating my protein bar with barbecue sauce when I saw my son in the backyard jumping like he was being attacked. I rushed outside to see what the deal was, and he said mosquitoes were feasting on him. I wasn't about to let some bugs ruin his playtime, so I had to take action. First, I tried blasting them with Prime juice, but that was a total fail. So I grabbed an electric bug swatter, but those mosquitoes were too small to even hit. And then even more mosquitoes started showing up. I had no choice but to haul butt to Home Depot, buy a mosquito trap, and set it up in the backyard. At first, it seemed like it was working, but then the trap started attracting even more of those little bloodsuckers. I ran over to shut it down, but I tripped, knocked it over, and mosquitoes exploded everywhere. We were totally outnumbered and had to retreat inside. We watched from the window as the mosquitoes took over the backyard like they owned the place. Then Caden asked if he could just play video games instead. Comment below if you think I should have just left the mosquitoes alone in the first place. So I was just munching on my shredded cheese and pickle mix when I saw that my dog Snoop's food bowl was closed. Snoop needs to eat, so I opened it up again and went back to my snack. When I finished, the bowl was closed again. I wasn't about to let Snoop starve, so I knew I had to figure out what was going on. At first, I thought maybe it was the wind. I checked all the windows and doors, but they were totally shut. Then I thought maybe it was my daughter Kaylani, because she likes to play near it, but she doesn't know how to close it. So I opened the bowl one more time, set up a camera near it, and waited to see what would happen. A few minutes later, I saw Snoop on the camera closing his own bowl. I put him in front of my animal translator and asked him why he's been closing his bowl, and he said,
So my food doesn't get stale.
long story short, sometimes your pet might just be smarter than you think. So I'm freaking out this morning because we're visiting family this week, and Caden lost his MacBook charger. Since he's homeschooled now, I needed to find it fast so he could do his schoolwork. First, I checked my parents' house where he's been sleeping, but no luck. Then I searched the backyard, and it wasn't there either. I decided to drive to Best Buy to buy him a new one, but they weren't open yet. Around this time, we usually take the kids to Lifetime, so I thought maybe they'd have a charger, but nope, none there either. When we got back to my parents' house, I went into the backyard to think about where his charger could be. Suddenly, I spotted the power block under the tree. I looked up and saw the cable dangling from the branches. I was totally confused about how it got up there, so I checked my parents' backyard camera and saw Caden tossing it up there. When I asked him why he did it, he admitted he was just trying to avoid doing his schoolwork. Now I'm wondering if we should put him back in school or not. What do you think? After a long drive to New Jersey to visit family for Thanksgiving, my son Caden was super hungry. He tried to rush into the hotel for food and leave me with all the bags, but I told him to help me first. Once we got the luggage to our room, I needed to use the bathroom. When I came out, Destiny said Caden was missing. I searched the whole room and checked the hallway, but he wasn't there. I went to the stairway and saw a ladder to the roof, but it was locked. I ran down the stairs, which was really tiring. The stairs led outside, so I checked the dumpster and the swimming pool, but still no Caden. I got in my car, but saw I was almost out of gas, so I used every bit of it, and after searching everywhere, I went back to the hotel. When I walked in, I found Caden at the breakfast buffet. Like this video if you think I should have checked there first. So the day after Thanksgiving, I felt really fat from all the food, so I decided to go to the gym. But when I got there, there were no parking spots. I didn't want to end up like a sumo wrestler, so I had to find another way to exercise. I went to the track to run some laps, and a man told me he knew some good workouts to burn fat. He had me run up and down the bleachers, and before I started the next exercise, he asked if he could warm up in my car. I gave him my keys and went to the football field to finish my workout. When I came back, my car and the guy were gone. He clearly stole my car, and I couldn't call the police because my phone was in the car, so I had no choice but to run back to my hotel. When I got there, the man was waiting for me. He said he took my car just so I could burn the fat I wanted to lose. What do you think I should have done? So I was just chilling at the kitchen table, chowing down on my Fruity Pebbles with mustard, when my son Caden comes up and asks for 60 bucks for a new video game. I told him money doesn't grow on trees and to go find a creative way to earn it. So first, he tries washing cars, but it was way too hot out. Then he tried to cut everyone's grass with scissors, but it took forever. He even tried to become a chess whiz, but he couldn't even beat the dog. About an hour later, I start hearing a bunch of noise outside. I look out the window, and there's a whole crowd of people standing in my driveway. I book it to the garage, and there's Caden yelling, "Everything must go." He was selling my cameras, my brand new Apple Vision Pro, and even my diamond play button. I freaked out and yelled at everyone to leave. Then I asked Caden what he thought he was doing. He reminded me that I told him to be creative and said he already made his $60. I told him to go get all my stuff back, but instead he grabbed his box of money and bolted. Moral of the story, I need to be more specific the next time I tell my kid to be creative. So my son Caden is about to turn 10 next week, and all he wants for his birthday is this magic chess set. I went to the store to buy it, but they didn't have it. I thought about ordering it online, but they were completely sold out. I really wanted Caden to have what he wanted, so I decided to look for it on the sketchy side of the internet. I found a guy who was selling the magic chess set and agreed to meet up with him. He showed me the chess set, and I showed him the money. But suddenly, he took off running. I grabbed my Segway from my trunk and chased after him. First, we ended up at a park, but he faked me out in a game of basketball and got away. Then he ran through the jungle gym, and once again, he outsmarted me. After that, he jumped into my car and drove off. I was about to call the police when I remembered that my Tesla has a tracker in it. So I tracked my car, and 30 minutes later, I got home. My car was parked in the driveway, but the guy was nowhere in sight. As I walked to the front door, I looked down and saw the magic chess set on my porch with a note that said, "Enjoy the gift." The moral of the story, if someone steals your car, they might just be giving you a surprise gift. So my son Caden and I were playing flag football, but he just couldn't grab my flag. He got super frustrated and asked if we could just go get ice cream instead. I wasn't about to reward him for quitting, so I told him if he could grab my flag 5 times, I'd buy him some ice cream. First I tried running past him, and he actually got my flag. I thought it was just a fluke, so I tried again, and bam, he got it again. You could tell he was really trying hard now because he wanted that ice cream. So I ran the other way and hid behind a house. Suddenly, I felt a tug, and he had my flag for the 3rd time. I ran to the park and climbed up high on the jungle gym, but he somehow got my flag from below for the 4th time. I really didn't feel like driving to get ice cream, so I jumped in my car and drove off. Just when I thought I outsmarted him, Caden grabbed my flag for the 5th time. I was totally confused about how he got there. Turns out he saw me running to the car and hopped in the back seat. The point of the story is if you want your kid to be good at something, just bribe them with ice cream. My daughter Kaylani was in a total funk, and no matter what I tried, I couldn't get her to crack a smile. Suddenly, I lost my balance and fell on the piano keys. She burst out laughing, and that's when a light bulb went off in my head.
Kaylani, did you like that? I almost had a heart attack. If you start laughing, don't mind crashing. Would you like that? Yeah. It's a funny when I smack myself. Can I get a smile if I run into a shell? As long as you're happy, fine, hurting badly. For you, I give up my hell.
Kaylani loves seeing me in pain, but her sadness returned when it stopped. The moral of the story? Being a parent may require sacrificing your health for your child's happiness. So in 2nd grade, my parents put me in a private school. There was only one classroom and one teacher. Her name was Miss Hubert. And let me tell you, she was the strictest teacher in the galaxy. For example, one time I failed one of her tests, and you know what she did? She made me write, "I am not a failure," 10,000 times. I'm in the 2nd grade. I don't even know how to count to 10,000. But that wasn't the worst part. She was old school, so she got permission to discipline us if we were acting up. What our parents didn't know is that she was taking it a little bit too far. Oh, she was beating us for every little thing. You talked on the test, spanking. You asked to go to the bathroom, spanking. You failed a test, spanking. You answered a question wrong, spanking. She was so strict that we had rules at lunch. We weren't allowed to have our elbows on the table, and we couldn't bring our face down to our food. We had to bring our food up to our face. And if you got caught breaking the rule, spank it. One day during the test, I asked my brother for a pencil. She hit me in the head with a stack of books. I told my mom, and she confronted her, then took